Okay, good morning. Welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on this 18th day of July 2023. I want to introduce the panelists that are here in studio. You have Senator Richard Onyonka, Senator of Kisii County. Good morning.
Good morning, Sammy. Good morning, Kenya.
Great to see you. Honorable Geoffrey Wandeto is the Member of Parliament for Tetu constituency. Good morning.
Good morning, Sam. Good morning to the distinguished panel here and to all Kenyans.
And Senator Godfrey Osotsi is the Senator of Vihiga County. Good morning.
Good morning, Sam, and good morning to all the Kenyans who are watching us this morning.
And you're expecting Honorable Lote from Kachaliba constituency as soon as he's able to make it his way here. Titus Lote will be joining the conversation. But in the meantime, I want us to begin. And if you look at the papers this morning, the Daily Nation is enough is enough. It's a comment, I believe, by the editorial team. The Daily Nation, of course, calling the country to order, and of course stating that the country's fate lies in these men's hands is what you'll see still on the front page of the Daily Nation. That is William Ruto, the president, and Raila Odinga, the former prime minister. Azimio leader Odinga and President Ruto have put their feet down on the planned protests. Kenyans will be watching if they, together with the country's top security chiefs, Kindiki, Haji and Kome, will let the nation slide into anarchy. Of course, you have had a lot of allegations, especially from the government side, on who is financing the Maandamano, what is being planned, and of course, also a protest letter to the UN agencies about that statement from the human rights wing of the UN, indicating that there's a lot of brute force being used by the police. The government contesting that, saying that they are using unofficial sources of information and therefore misleading. Then on the front page of the Standard, pressure mounts on Uhuru over Azimio protests. Security chiefs have been tasked to investigate the ongoing demonstrations with allegations that the former president could be at the center of the resource mobilization. And those are just some of the key stories that you find on the two dailies. We'll get into more details later on. But let me begin with you, Senator Richard Onyonka, because here we are, a conversation that is unending. Is there an end in sight to this standoff?
Sammy, I would wish so. I would hope so. But I am so pessimistic now. The reason for that is, if you observe and watch what is happening, it just reminds me of 2008. When, actually 2007 up to 8, when people are being told, no, the argument you're making about ICC, you remember? Don't be vague. Let's go to the ICC. And yet we had an option by Parliament basically terminating the ICC exercise and holding our own courts to hold us and hold our own tribunal. Look at what happened after that. The same thing is what I see happening. That we have got friends and colleagues who may not necessarily look at this country the way we should actually look at it. And I want to make a confession here today. I am so worried about this country. It is actually scary because some people don't seem to see the weightiness. They don't seem to see the critical issues which are coming up. And some of these things are very, very worrisome. It's not even the protests. I mean, just look the other day, Sammy. You had presidential authority for the gazettement to take place for forests to be cut. Look at what is happening. I mean, we are cutting forests like we are eating food. I mean, every place that you see their forest, people are just cutting. And what happened to us? What happened to our humanity? That's what is worrying me now. So the grandstanding, whether it is from either side or both sides, I think the leadership of our country needs to now begin to look at our life and say, you know, this country, the way it is only one. And it is very, very easy to break it down into pieces. It will be very difficult to put it all back together. So my hope is that President William Ruto and my party leader Raila Odinga will actually realize that most probably they have about 24 hours. And this country is either going to break or is going to be saved. And I don't think that there is anything that would look cowardly if both men and all the other interested parties. I'm also willing to really beg my colleagues from the KK Alliance side that many of them are kind of taking a very extreme position on this matter. Many of them are actually nearly taking it personally. If you listen to the comments, you hear and see what is going on. Countries are never governed with extreme positions. Countries sometimes are governed with middle positions.
Okay.
Where people on the far end and the far end find a way on how they come back to the center and agree to accommodate themselves. Kenya is a country that is now split right in the middle. If you remember the results from the elections, the difference between the president's vote and Raila's, if that is acceptable or admissible, you're talking about 100,000 people. Look at what has happened since then. The other thing is that the truth is, it may look shoddy and it may look petty that people are talking about standards of, cost of living and these issues that are going on. It's not that the government can do it today, but give us a roadmap. Every single thing that the government is talking about, you see and feel like there's nothing happening up front. Every promise that is given that the government is going to do this and that, I think they need to manage this expectation and hope of our people in a better way so that people can begin to say, okay, let's wait and see. Maybe the president will be able with his team to manage what is happening in the country.
Okay, interesting. And Tetas Lote, Member of Parliament for Kacheliba, now joins us on the show. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Chipu.
And it's good to see you here. I think we haven't met on the show, so karibu sana.
Thank you.
I want us to listen to what Archbishop of the Catholic Church in Nairobi said about resolving the challenges that Kenyans are facing at the moment and the political situation in the country now.
That freedom of demonstration, that freedom of also taking care of those who are demonstrating shall not be infringements against the joy and livelihood of others. So we ask also our security people to be very cautious and professionally to handle the matters as they come.
Your Excellency, we recognize you as the President of this country, but sincerely plead with you to calm down and give dialogue a chance. We want to ask the leader of opposition, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, to climb down equally and give dialogue a chance.
We can initiate, but also it depends on the two and other opposing parties to agree that they can come together and discuss. But the church and the interfaith group are always available for that matter.
What the call by the Interreligious Council to convene a national dialogue convention that should be able to bring both sides of the political divide on a table that we can address these issues that are hurting our country.
All right. They're talking about the possibility of having dialogue that the religious leaders are willing to initiate, but it has to take the interest of the leaders of the country. And Honorable Wandeto, there has been talk of this, but really, even if anyone else, any other quarters would be willing to initiate dialogue, I hear there's actually a possibility that a president of a neighboring country may have been in the country to see if that happens. The two sides have to want it. Do you see the political will to come together and resolve whatever differences, whether personal, political, or policy-wise?
Thank you, Sam. And maybe before I answer your questions, allow me to pass my sincere condolences to the families of the 25 or so people who lost their lives in last Wednesday's Mandamano. Had our Azimio colleagues not called for these Mandamanos, these men and women would still be with their families. But because of the events of last Wednesday, there is a woman without a husband, there is a husband without a wife, there are children without a father or a mother, and it is very, very unfortunate that we find ourselves where we find ourselves. Having said that, you have asked if the two leaders are willing to dialogue, and it is important that we go back and say, how did we find ourselves here, Sam? Because what we are seeing happening is the playing out of a very familiar script. In fact, we can even predict the next steps. This is a movie that we have seen played out by Raila Odinga perennially. He played it out in 2007.
No.
He played it out. Allow me to finish because it is my turn. Also, see, you will have your day. And we are going to give you...
Senator Osotsi, we are just starting. So
yes, we are just starting.
You cannot individualize a big agenda like this.
Allow him to carry on. We'll
let us carry on. If you have a different view, you'll have your time.
Carry on, Honorable.
And we are saying this happened in 2007. It happened in 2013, 2017, and now 2022. And how does it start? It starts with elections. Kenyans go to elections very, very peacefully. They vote, and they go back home and sit. The Electoral Commission announces the results. Sometimes the results are contested in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court made its ruling. You know, in some cases, it has made its ruling to uphold or sometimes to even reject the elections. And what we have seen, and especially in 2017 and now 2022, is Raila Odinga, after some brief hiatus, where he sort of like takes a break, comes back and starts contesting the election results and starting to clutch on very, very many non-issues. Like I said here some last time, if you look at this Azimio course, it is metamorphosizing daily. It started with servers. No, it started with the election dispute. It then came to servers. It then came to commissioners. It then came to this. Now it is about the cost of living. Mm-hmm. So before we say whether the leaders should dialogue, we must say what is the context in which we are dialoguing. None of us wants to see this country burn. But we also cannot allow people to light fires so that we join them in putting them off. The current fires...
What did you say are the non-issues?
I mean... the issues that we are talking about, Sam, here, like the cost of living, how do you address that with Maandamano? And Sam, I know it's wrong to ask a journalist a question, but I would like you to answer me today, Sam. How does getting to the streets, how does losing 25 lives, how does vandalizing the expressway, how does looting a railway station, how does looting shops, how does shutting down an economy contribute or assist in lowering the cost of living? If someone can show me the direct connection, then even me, maybe, I would reconsider my stand. But today, I do not see that as a way. What I see that, what is happening, Sam, here, and I think it's good we call a spade, this is a backdoor power grab. Let us call it as it is.
To get what?
To get to power.
How?
This is Raila Odinga trying to force his way into government. We have said it time and time again. This is a political issue. This is not a cost of living issue. And anyone who wants to say it's a cost of living issue, then should show me by either some science or some economics the relationship between Maandamano and cost of living.
What would he get if that were to happen?
I don't know what he wants. You know, the other time he got prime minister. This other time he got nusu mkate. This other time he got a handshake and he was able to then become part of the government, and he ended up confusing the whole government that Uhuru Kenyatta had so successfully built. So I don't know what he wants, but I think somehow he has to be in government. And what Onyonko and my brother here, I can tell them, that as soon as Raila gets this thing, atawacha kwa mata.
Stop lecturing us. Some of us have been there for a while.
But wait a minute. As soon as he gets, he's going to
leave them in the traffic.
It's just this tumbo politics they do in KK.
So what is he getting?
Whatever he's getting, whether he's going to get half of the government, whether he wants to be accommodated in government, or whatever he's looking for, as soon as he gets it. Look at what happened after the handshake.
Are these your thoughts, or it's something that you know?
These are my thoughts, and it's also common knowledge. I told you, Sam, and I don't know why Sam, this is...
Surely.
I hope you'll give us as much time as you've given him.
Sam, I said, this is a familiar script.
Just hold on. Yes, you have said that, and I heard it clearly. Just hold on. So you cannot say that your thoughts are common knowledge. They cannot be.
Ask anybody in the street.
Can you just deal with...
Ask people how this script will play out. Ask even a common man. How do you think this script will play out? What do you think Raila Odinga is looking for?
There's a reason why we got you, Honorable Wandete, and not the common man that you're referring to. But anyway, that's your answer, so I'll take it as it is. Senator Osotsi, you're agitated with what Honorable Wandete is saying, but also, do you see an end in sight?
Well, first of all, let me say that it's very disappointing when a leader who has been elected by the people and the people who are suffering like the rest of the Kenyans can come to a very popular TV station and reduce the serious problems Kenyans are facing and trivialize them to Raila Odinga. This clearly tells you that the other side of the political divide has lost it. Let's start understanding where the rain started beating us. Mm-hmm. You know, this KK regime came to power on the strength of a package of lies. First of all, they sold us a narrative of dynasties versus hustlers. And they used all manner of lies in this world to get hustlers to vote for them. Now they have gotten into power, they have realized that being on that seat is a different ball game altogether. The things they told Kenyans, they have not done it. And in fact, they have done the opposite of what they promised Kenyans. They said they were going to deal with the cost of living. Cost of living has instead gone up. They say they were going to deal with high taxation. Taxation has gone up. They said they are going to deal with public debt. Within 10 months of their being in government, they have borrowed 1.2 trillion shillings. Uhuru borrowed about 8 trillion shillings in 10 years. They have borrowed 1.2 trillion shillings in only 10 months. And these are real issues affecting Kenyans. So us in Azimio, we have come out and told Kenyans, look here, the cost of unga, the cost of everything has gone up. We have to do something about it. And we have come forward and told Kenyans about this. They have come up with all manner of things. They said, oh, give us more time. We gave them time. Oh, let's import fertilizers. They have imported fertilizers. In that process, they have done corruption. and we cannot wait anymore. Because we are leaders elected the people, we have to represent the people's interest in parliament and outside parliament. Mm-hmm. Now, even as we are talking about cost of living, they have gone forward and increased taxes, and bulldozed the bill, the finance bill, through the National Assembly, through intimidation and bribery. Now, here we are in a situation where an institution that is supposed to protect Kenyans, where these two gentlemen sit, has become part of the executive. Mm-hmm. It has been captured. That they no longer think about the people, they think about State House, they think about their parties, they don't think about the people. Now the people have been left on their own. Azimio is saying that the powers Wandeto and colleagues in National Assembly enjoy are delegated powers under Article 1 of the Constitution. That delegated powers can be withdrawn. And now we have gone to the people. We have asked the people, what do we do? Because they lied to Kenyans, they do not want Azimio to exercise their rights under the Constitution. Initially, some, and I want to take you back, we started by doing regional assemblies. They were largely peaceful. In fact, when we started, they actually told us that you will not get people. Mm-hmm. People are with us. But eventually they realized our meetings were becoming big. So now when we went into demonstration, peaceful demonstration, they now decided to put police there. To throw tear gas at people, to kill people, so that they can intimidate Kenyans not to exercise their freedom. I want to tell them, the Constitution is very clear, that demonstration is part of Bill of Rights. And that Bill of Rights is an individual right, which cannot be granted by the state. Mm-hmm. So they cannot come forward and say, we have disallowed demonstration. We will not allow this to happen. That is unconstitutional. We are saying that let me just finish my point. Mm-hmm. We will be able to deal with this problem if, because they are in power, they have to reduce the cost of living. They have to withdraw the finance bill because this finance bill is adding more pain to the Kenyans. But these people are not listening. Remember, even when they subjected this bill for public participation, 99% of Kenyans rejected the bill. But they ignored that and they passed as it is. Right now, some I can tell you, the courts have stopped the implementation of this act. But I have evidence that the KK regime is actually implementing this bill. I have a number of business people who have imported goods into this country. They are being charged the new import duties on their goods.
At the port.
You have seen IPRA disregarded the court ruling and went ahead and gazetted new pump prices, contrary to the law.
Okay.
And many, many other instances where we see the bill, the act being implemented. So we are saying you cannot trivialize serious issues to one man, Raila Odinga.
Okay.
You know, this gentleman has come to this TV station. I've been listening to him, and he has not said anything apart from Raila this, Raila that.
Okay, Senator Sotsi.
We are saying
that's fine. I hear you.
Let me drive my last point.
No.
The last point is
again, like
Raila Odinga can stay at home, but Kenyans will demonstrate.
Okay, I hear you. You know, my question was very simple. Is there an end in sight? And the answer I've gotten has nothing to do with an end in sight. So let me try with the Honorable Lote. Let's first listen to families of victims of what happened last week on Wednesday.
Niliambiwa na simu Fei amegongwa na risasi, nikamuuliza na sasa yako wapi? Akaniambia mwenye kunipiga akaniambia tayari ameenda amepelekwa wapi. Nikamwambia nichunguzie ndio nikifika nijue kwenye naelekea. Sasa ndio tu sasa hiyo tu akanipigia akaniambia ameambiwa ni Mariakani. Nilimpata huko Mariakani lakini kulisemekana alifika kama hayuko, kama ashaaga.
Kumshika alikuwa moto na nilikuwa na believe Fei bado hajakufa. So nikaambia msichana mwingine Fei, Masi, Fei hajakufa bado. Mbona huyo mtu wa bodaboda asitusaidie? Akaekelewa, tukaenda naye hadi Osi. Hapo ndo nikaambiwa risasi imeguza hadi kwa roho.
Kuna boys hapa hivi. Boys atuwa ile watu walianza kushuti marisasi. Ndio kijana tukimbia hivi, tukaanza kumuona kijana ameanguka chini. Ile kugeukia kwenda kumwangalia kijana already alikuwa ashapigwa risasi ya kichwa.
Na hiyo kofia ilikuwa na kulikuwa na bullet ile run through ikararua kofia. Kwa kijana tunaishi na yeye, ni yeye ananifuata. So I don't know what to tell parents. Nilitoa kijana wetu nyumbani akiwa uhai, nao sasa namrudisha na sanduku.
You know, those are real voices and families, friends that are witnessed and what has happened to them. And when you listen to this, if things go as they have been going, there's a possibility that people may lose lives. I'm not saying they will, but may. Do you see any possibility of...
Have already lost lives.
No, I'm saying in the coming days. Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, Ben, I want to condole with the families of those that lost lives on Wednesday and those that have lost life in all the demonstrations that have taken place in this country. I would actually go into record to say that every demonstration that has taken place in this country has actually ended with deaths of Kenyans, be it 1, be it 25 like we saw on Wednesday. And going by the utterances that we've had this week from both sides, we might be losing more lives starting tomorrow on Wednesday all the way to Friday, and basically meaning that our demonstrations have not been peaceful, because peaceful demonstrations will not come to loss of life like we've seen. Probably what, to answer you, I want us to go back to our national anthem, just to look at the framers of the national anthem. O God of all creation, bless this land and nation. Justice be our shield and defender. Justice is what we are talking about. May you dwell in unity, peace and liberty. So if you look at the person who actually thought about a national anthem, this person never envisioned a position where we go to levels where we fight and destroy our country in the name of building democracy. Democracies are not built by fights. Democracies are built by sitting on and discussing. In any case, governments that are in power actually delegated responsibilities, where all of us sitting here have actually been delegated by our citizens to go and represent them. Even what we speak here, we speak things that are coming from ourselves, but we are also speaking things that we have been delegated to speak. So for me, I will definitely say this country will not burn. It is also my prayer that this country will not burn. We are in a very precarious position in this country. But if Kenyans become Kenyans that we've seen, because the very last time that we nearly burned this country was 2007. And I thought, when there was dialogue in 2007, there were 4 things that were looked at. One of them was to end the violence, look at elevate the human suffering. But the last aspect of what was looked at is to do a constitutional review, so that it was thought the constitution that was there before was not actually guarding Kenyans. And if you look at the whole constitution, only one article has been aimed by the people that have actually taken Kenyans to the demonstration. That is Article 37, which says that you are allowed to picket, you are allowed to demonstrate, you are allowed to present petition. But that article is very clear because it gives limitations. It says that as long as it's peaceful, that is it. If as long as it is peaceful, anything that is not peaceful is not supported by the Constitution. And that basically takes us to demonstrations and riots. If you look at riots, riots are actually looked at in the penal code, and they're very serious. So what we are seeing in this country is not peaceful demonstration, and therefore it is unconstitutional. It is not supported by
Let me ask you this, Honorable Lote. So if already the police have said, and the security system, including the president, have said that those demonstrations must not happen, what are the chances of that being peaceful?
No, I've actually said these demonstrations that have actually taken place in this country have never been peaceful. It has never been peaceful, and so it is not conforming to the Constitution. Article 37 is not conformed.
At a time that you have an opposition saying there will be demonstrations on a particular day, then the system, the government system, comes and says there won't be demonstrations. In fact, during the times that there has been a notification, they have always come and said that we have not allowed them, either because the notification was given out of time or because there has been history of non-peaceful demonstrations. So what are the chances that you can actually have peaceful demonstrations when they have already been mentioned as they cannot be?
These are not going to be peaceful demonstrations. And that's the reason why I've said at the beginning of my statement that every demonstration that has taken place in this country has resulted into deaths and destructions of property. We saw that when properties in this country are being destroyed. I want my colleagues who are sitting here to also attest to me that we are burning our roads, we are putting our billions of shillings in building our infrastructure. At the same time, we are burning, creating potholes in all our roads across the country. And we are saying that because of that, we are creating a prosperous nation. I think we are destroying this country. The demonstrations are not going to be peaceful. The demonstrations are not as per the Constitution of this country because, one, it is not peaceful, and that article only allows peaceful demonstration. We've actually looked at the history of demonstrations since the beginning of 2003. We've actually seen demonstrations after demonstrations resulting into deaths, resulting into destruction of this country. And if Kenyans are to learn, they need to go back and think what this country was about to be in 2007. If we are not going to learn from that, I think we are going to destroy this country in this 1 week. And I like what somebody saying, that we've got only 72 hours before we actually define what Kenya is going to be.
Do you think it's possible to have peaceful demonstrations in Kenya?
In Kenya, the history of demonstrations in Kenya has never been peaceful. And that is the reason. It is not going to be peaceful.
I'm asking you a specific question.
Yes.
Do you think it is possible to have peaceful demonstrations in Kenya?
Based on history, it has never been peaceful. And the reason why, when the Constitution, after 2007, the Constitution was drafted by Kenyans, and that Article 37 was made by Kenyans, and they consciously say, as long as these demonstrations are going to be peaceful. But since that
will
time...
Kenyans ever enjoy Article 37?
They will never enjoy as long as we are Kenyans.
Sammy, no, it's my turn. No, it's my turn.
That's interesting.
Sammy, it's my turn.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Let me finish.
That is interesting that you said that Kenyans will never enjoy Article 37 as long as they are Kenyans.
They will.
Tell me, give me an example of a time when Kenyans have demonstrated peacefully. Give me that.
So isn't that prejudice, Honorable Ote?
It is not prejudice. It is history. And the reason why the police are banning this demonstration, because it's already known that immediately people go into the streets. What they're looking for is to loot. What they're looking for is to destroy infrastructure. What they're looking for is to destroy the economy of this country. So based on history, we've actually seen that this section, and the police have got a right actually to say, we've seen when people are allowed to go and demonstrate, they will destroy people's property.
Sammy, can I help my brother?
We have many peaceful demonstrations in this country.
I hear you. No.
We have many peaceful demonstrations.
It's 7 a.m. I need to take a short break. I'll come back with that. We need to unpack Article 37 and Article 1 because they've been mentioned by many.
Sammy, you know it's my turn.
Yes, it is. It will be your turn as we begin.
I am waiting for a while and I'm like, I've no job here.
That I asked a question, if there will be a solution out of this. I'm not getting any answers. We take a short break to find some.